Okay, let us start. Good afternoon, everyone. Are you able to hear me?
Yes,
Good
sir.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Okay, fine. Okay, so let us begin the lecture. So in today's class, almost a similar kind of problem we are going to solve. So what we are going to solve is that we are going first we will solve the Laplace equation and then we go for the derivation. So most probably I will derive the heat equation. I'm not sure whether wave equation can be derived. Let us see that. So what we are going to do is that we'll already we discussed about the problem like ut is equal to c square ux, which is the heat equation we have discussed, and then we have discussed so for that what we because using the separation of variables we have applied them. So using the separation of variable, what was the assumption is that you have to use u of x comma y. So assumption is that we have to use u of x comma y u of x comma t is equal to x of x into t of t we have used. Okay, so this is the assumption I have used, and then I have separated them into two different two families of ODEs. One is d square x by dx square minus x. Okay, in the case of heat equation, it will be dt by dt into some constant c square into t will come. In case of wave equation, it is going to be t square t by dt square is going to come. So then for this problem, we have discussed different cases, nu equal to 0, nu greater than 0, nu less than 0. So these two cases we are not getting any solution. Only nu less than 0 we got the solution, for which xn of x equal to bn sin n by x was the solution. Since it is a product solution, so we will get some solutions of we have to obtain what is the Pn of t also. In both cases, we will be obtaining. In case of heat equation, you obtain something like e power was obtained. In case of wave equation, you are going to obtain something like cos sine etc. Now Laplace equation also we are going to do the same thing. Okay, let us solve that. So in the Laplace equation again you are going to do the same thing. Okay, I'll just change this equation. So uxx. So I will rewrite this one. Okay, so this part I will remove. Almost similar kind of things that will come. Okay, that's what I'm not going to do that one. So in this case, what I'm going to take is that I'm going to take uxx plus uyy equal to 0. Okay, Laplace equation. And here x belongs to some open interval 0, a, and y belongs to some open interval 0, b. Okay. And other than that, I have a bigger Dirichlet boundary condition. So u of x comma 0 equal to, let's say like 0. Yeah, u of x comma 0 equal to 0. Okay, x belongs to 0, a, and u of x comma b, u of x comma b equal to f of x, some function, and x belongs to again 0, a. Okay, so 0, a I can put it. Close to the okay, and then u of 0, y, u of 0, y equal to 0, u of u of a, y equal to 0, okay, where y belongs to 0, close to 0. So this is the condition given. Again, we are going to do, okay, this is a Dirichlet boundary problem. Dirichlet boundary condition means exactly the boundary conditions are prescribed at that domain. So this is my domain. Okay, so a, 0, a is here, 0, b is here. So this is my domain. So here I have x comma 0 is there, so it is going to be 0. This is going to be f of x. This is going to be 0. This is going to be 0. Okay, so this is the one which I got. So now for this problem, what I have to do is that I got solve. So again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to assume the same thing. So u of x comma y equal to, I'm going to assume that x of x into y of x of x into y of y, and then I'm going to derive a similar kind of thing. So what I'm going to have, again I'm going to take this one. So x double dash of x, okay, into y of y is going to come. Same kind of thing, plus x of x into y double dash of y equal to 0 is going to come. Again, I'm going to assume the same thing. Okay, x y not equal to 0, x and y are not equal to 0. So if x and y are equal to 0, automatically this is going to be 0. That means trivial solution is going to come. I'm not interested in the trivial solution. So you are going to do the same kind of. So what you are going to get? You are going to divide by x by y. So you are going to get x double dash by x equal to minus y double dash by y is going to come. Again, same logic. This side is function of x, this side is function of y. Therefore, both should be equal, means it should be a constant. Okay, some constant should come. Otherwise, it is not going to be right. So therefore, what you are going to get? You are going to get a similar kind of equation: d square x by dx square minus mu x equal to 0. Now, similarly, you will get one more equation, which is nothing but d square y by dy square, okay, plus mu y equal to 0. So two equations is going to, okay. So let us solve this equation first. Same kind of thing. Can you use any real constant? What you need to do? You got to use the same kind of thing. So here u of 0 comma y equal to u of 0 comma y equal to 0 is given. Okay. Therefore, x of 0 into here y of y is equal to 0. Okay. Now again I'm going to assume y of y is not equal to 0. Y of y is equal to 0. This becomes 0. Therefore, you are going to get trivial solution. Therefore, y of y is not simultaneously 0. That means x of 0 equal to 0. Okay. So this is going to be that. Now u of b comma y, u of b comma y equal to 0. Okay. This is equal to 0. Implies x of b y of y yeah, y of y equal to, yeah. So if y of y is again same logic, y of y equal to means this is going to be 0. Okay, this u of x comma y is going to be 0, which is a trivial solution. I'm not interested. Therefore, I'm going to take x of b equal to 0. Okay, that is going to imply x of b equal to 0. Same logic. So therefore, what you are going to have is that you are going to have x of a equal to 0, no, x of 0 equal to 0, x of b equal to 0. In the place of here it is giving x of 0 equal to 0, x of sorry, mistake. Okay, this condition I will take this condition. A comma y, not b comma y, because the interval is a, right? So this will be start. Okay, so this is the condition: d square x by dx square minus mu x, x of 0 equal to 0, x of a equal to 0. This is the condition. Again, do the same logic: mu greater than 0, mu equal to 0, mu less than 0. Mu equal to 0 means again you are going to get x double dash equal to 0 plus x dash equal to let me put some other x1 and a1 I will put it. Okay, a1 b. Already I am using a b for this one. So some constant. Okay, x1 x dash equal to a1 is going to come. X equal to a1 x plus b1 is going to come. Now x of 0 equal to 0 means we are going to get b1 equal to 0. Okay, and x of a equal to 0 means we are going to get a1 into a equal to 0. But a is an interval. Okay, therefore this is not equal to 0. Okay, which implies your a1 is equal to 0. Okay, so that means a1 is 0, b1 is 0, therefore x is equal to 0. That means u is simultaneously 0. Therefore, you are going to get a trivial solution in this case. So I'm not interested in this again. Now, mu greater than 0 means, okay, I'm going to have again the same thing. Mu greater than 0 means you are going to, so mu equal to 0 is done. Now, mu greater than 0, and again I'm going to mu equal to mu equal to b mu square, then you are going to get mu square x equal to 0. Again, take the auxiliary equation. So you will be getting x of x equal to a e power mu x plus b e power minus mu x is going to come. Then x of 0 equal to 0. Okay, so therefore a plus b equal to 0, which implies a equal to minus b is going to come. Now x of a equal to 0. Okay, x of a equal to 0 means you are going to get a e power minus mu a, b e power minus mu a equal to 0. So this is going to become like mu a equal to mu a is going to come. No, sorry, e power minus mu a is going to come. So here a is not equal to 0 and mu is not equal to 0 because mu equal to 0 is already discussed. So mu is not equal to 0. So that implies you are going to get only a equal to 0 because this is going to be valid only if a equal to 0 or mu equal to 0. Okay, only that case it is going to come. But all these cases are ruled out. Therefore, only possibility is that a equal to 0. Again, you are going to get x equal to 0 is there. That means again this is going to be a trivial solution. I am not interested. Okay, I am not interested. So case 3. Same thing, mu less than 0. Okay, for mu less than 0, what you are going to get? Plus mu square x equal to 0. That means m square auxiliary equation is going to come. So here you are going to get a cos mu x plus b sin mu x is going to come. Now x of 0 equal to 0 means you are going to get a equal to 0 because this is a plus this is already 0. So a equal to 0 is going to come. Therefore now next one x of a equal to 0. Okay, x of a equal to 0 means you are going to get sin mu a equal to 0 is going to come. That means either b equal to 0 or sin u equal to 0. If b equal to 0, again I am not going to get any solution. So I'm going to assume b not equal to 0. So in this case, other possibility is that sin ua can be 0. Okay, sin ua can be 0 if u is equal to n pi by a automatically. Therefore, your x1 of x is going to become like bn into Sin mu by ax is going to come. Okay, so everywhere I'm going to replace that. Okay, so therefore, the x1 of x is the x1 of x is going to be bn sin x1 of x is going to be bn sin n pi by a into x is going to come where n belongs to n. Okay, n belongs to n again replace them. Again the same logic. Okay, n greater than 0, n less than 0 as we discussed for the heat equation and same thing. So now again we have to come back here. Okay, d square y by d nu square problem. So in this case it is going to come like not only d square y, because for each nu you are getting a n by d. Okay, for each nu you will be getting n by a. So you are going to get d square y by d square yn by d square, and this I am going to call it as nu n. Okay, so nu n I am going to replace that. So therefore this problem is going to become like, I am going to get it like minus nu n square yn is going to, okay, minus nu n square. So nu, the place of nu I want to replace that. So here it was plus nu y was the, now I have assumed nu is equal to minus nu square. What is nu? Nu is nothing but n pi by nu is nothing but n by a. So therefore it is going to be minus n pi by a whole square. Okay, so therefore this is going to become like minus n pi by a whole square y square. Okay, so sorry, there is not no t, that should be going. Okay, that should be there's no t. So having this mistake. Okay, so therefore what you are going to get, you are going to get for this problem again, take the auxiliary equation etc. and then solve the problem. So this is going to have, okay, you are going to have yn equal to, you are going to get a e power, okay, I'm just going to put it like minus nu n, okay, minus nu n y plus b e power minus nu n b e power nu n y this way. Or you can vice versa, here plus and minus, that's the cost. Okay, so this is going to be the a e power nu n y plus b e power minus nu n y is going to be the answer for this. So therefore your general solution is going to become like u n of x comma y is going to become like x n of x into y n of y. That means I am going to get, so I will write this one first. Okay, a e power nu n y plus b e power minus nu n y into that one bn into sin n pi by n pi x by a into x. Yeah, okay, so I can observe this bn inside this one, so I can simply write this as this bn, I can just remove it. Okay, so I can just simply put a and b. Okay, that is also working because both are constant, right? And then I'm going to get new constants. So a n into something I'm going to multiply, so we are going to get something. Okay, so here also I'm okay, because it depends on the. So again, this is the eigen functions for the, sorry, again there is a mistake. This is the eigen function for the Laplace equation, not for the equation. Okay, this is the eigen function for the Laplace equation corresponding to the eigen value, this one n pi by k. Okay, for this is the eigen value. Okay, so if you find all this set, okay, all this set if you find, that is the spectrum of the. Now again do the same thing whatever you did for the heat equation and wave equation. Okay, what you have to do, you since this is a solution, if you take a linear combination, that is also going to be a solution. So I can take infinite linear combination, so I can just put a summation here. Okay, so I put the summation, that is also going to be a linear, that is also going to be a solution. So again, now these two conditions are not used so far. These two conditions are not used so far. So that one you can find it. So if you substitute u of x comma 0 equal to 0, then what you are going to get is that you are going to get an equal to minus bn is going to come, because u of x comma 0 means this is going to be an plus bn is going to come. This is going to be sin unx is going to be there. Okay, so therefore what you are going to get, this total is going to be 0 means each term is going to be 0. Okay, so therefore what you are going to get is that you are going to get an equal to minus bn. Either this is going to be 0 or the other is going to be 0, but x is non-zero thing, so it is not necessary that always it is going to be there. So you are going to get an equal to minus. Okay. Now for the so once you obtain that one, then what you are going to get? You are going to get minus a is going to come here. Once you apply this one, so this is going to be minus a is going to come. Okay. So you can take a now. Therefore, what you are going to get is that e power n minus e power minus mu n is going to come. So that is nothing but some sin h y is going to come. Okay, sin h mu n y is going to come. So it's a hyperbolic what you are going to get. So therefore, this one I can write it as summation an into sin. I'm just writing unx. mu n is nothing but this one into sin h mu n. So this is the solution. Now what we are left with is we are left with an. Okay, for this an we got to apply this condition. Okay, so again you got to use the once again you got to use the series conditions and then you apply. Okay, so u of x comma p equal to you can apply the an sin mu n and sin h mu n b is going to come. Okay, so now again use the Fourier series concept and then integrate both sides, then you are going to answer. Okay, so this is same thing. So again I repeated that, but the same thing what we did it for the last Laplace equation. So I have spent more time on the heat equation, but wave equation and Laplace equations are similar, so I did not spend much time. I just replace the locations wherever the changes are there, then the same. Okay, the logic is same, so you don't need to spend more time on it. Okay, any questions in this one? So there are some exercise problems are given, so you need to find that a and b and etc. Okay, any questions? Any questions so far? Okay, so you can read that once again. Okay, you can refer the notes once again. If any questions are there, you can ask me. Okay, next one. So next one is fundamental conservation law, which is going to be the important concept for actually more of physics and engineering oriented it will be, but that's the place where you need to understand the importance of the PDE, how it is applied and where it is applied. Okay, so that part we are going to see. So this is the conservation law. In the school, you might have studied some of the things. Energy can neither be destroyed nor be created, right? In school days, the physics or other subjects you might have studied. Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. Means one form of energy can be converted into another form of energy. Now the conservation law is something like extension of that one. So something like we have three laws are there. One is called conservation of so three laws are there basically. One is called conservation of mass. Okay, one is called conservation of mass. Another is called conservation of momentum. Conservation of momentum. And the third one is called conservation of energy. Okay. So these three are very important in fluid dynamics or physics problem. So these are the things which we are going to discuss right now. We will see that what is the fundamental conservation law. Of course, there is a theorem called Reynolds-Strunford theorem that also we'll see, but I am not sure whether we can cover it today. So many PDEs, whatever I now explained the first class or second class, they are about physical phenomena, about how certain quantity changes time and space. That's what we have to define. So either you define ut or ux or utt, uxx, etc. So this is we are having some quantity. Physical phenomena, some quantities. Either it may be velocity or it may be temperature or some pollutant, etc. It may be there. So some quantity is there which is going to change with respect to the time or with respect to space. It is going to change. So that is how the PDE have many PDEs involve physical phenomena. Studies about how certain quantity, it may be some quantity that is going to change, how it is going to change with respect to time, with respect to space that we are studying. So these changes obeys the conservation laws. Okay, the conservation laws are going to. So conservation of mass, momentum, energy. These are the conservation things. So we will prove the transportation theorem, means not transportation theorem for n-dimensional later. Okay. Now we are going to derive the heat equations little bit. Okay, so for which we are going to derive the fundamental constraints. So let us quantify. Okay, we are going to quantify u of x comma t. I'm just going to define for u of x comma t. Okay, certain quantity. I don't know what is the quantity. Maybe mass, maybe energy or some other quantity. Okay, so u of x comma t is going to denote the density of certain quantity. Okay, that I am going to denote. So the density is, so here I'm going to assume another thing. The density is measured in amount of quantity per unit volume or per unit. Okay, so for example, if it is a 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional, if it is a 2-dimensional, I can per unit area. But it's a 3-dimensional, I can measure it as per volume. Similarly, for the higher dimension also, I will say volume only. If it is 1-dimensional, I can measure it per density. I'm just going to denote per unit volume or per unit length. Okay, that's what I am. Now what we are going to do, we are going to derive something. Let us derive the heat equation. Okay, using this one, what we are going to use that. I am having a rod. Okay, I am just magnifying. So this is my rod. Already explained for the heat equation. This is my rod where I am going to keep something over here, and then something over here, and then something distributed over here. Okay, so might be like in the childhood you might got some. You might have, or even in the kitchen, you keep some stirring. Okay, keep some stirring, and then keep the spoon inside the pan. What will happen? There will be some temperature rising. Okay, this is my pan. Suppose I have a pan here. Okay, so I have a pan. Okay, in this pan I'm just keeping. So this is the heating part I have, and I'm going to keep my spoon over here. Then what will happen after certain stage? You cannot touch this pan. Okay, you cannot. If it is a silver spoon or something, you cannot touch it after some time because the heat will be distributed. It will be going from the hot place to the cold place. It will be moving. So it will be distributed after a certain stage. You cannot touch the spoon at all. Okay, you cannot touch them. So that is the equation we are going to derive. But we are going to assume it like, so I'm having a big rod I have. Okay, I have a rod. I have a rod is there. So I'm going to derive the equation for this rod. The same thing you can derive it for your body or the temperature which is happening in the earth, whatever it is, you can derive it. It's similar kind of. So this is the idea. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to take a rod. Okay, I'm going to make it as a small cross section, and I'm going to obtain this one. So I have a rod. Okay, I'm just magnifying it. So I have a rod. This is a rod. Okay, so which is going to have some small area. Okay, small cross section area. Okay, very small cross section area. Okay, so this is A, and I have a length. Okay, AB. This interval I'm just taking as some arbitrary interval. Okay, in the external. So let us consider a thin tube as our domain, and its cross-sectional area we are going to derive as A. Okay, let us derive this one. The heat equation we are going to derive. How are we going to derive? Let us see. So what are all the assumptions I am going to make is that this assumption we can just relax it after the 1D equation, and then you can get the similar kind of thing. Okay. So what are the assumptions I am going to make is that the lateral sides are insulated so that the quantity being studied only varying with respect to. See, actually, this is the rod I have. What I am going to do is that I'm just going to insulate this, means there is no heat is going to be escaped outside this rod. So if I heat it over here, the heat is going to go along this line. Okay, along this rod only it is going to go. It's not going to go. It will not escape from the rod at all. Okay, that assumption I'm going to. That means the lateral side. This is the lateral side. So those are insulated. So here it cannot. Okay. The lateral sides are insulated so that the quantity being studied only varies in x direction, because we are trying to derive only with respect to one variable, that is the distance. Okay. So what we are going to denote? We are going to denote u of x comma. So what we are going to say is that u of x comma t does not vary within cross section at x. So suppose I take a cross section here. Okay. I'm just going to assume u of x comma t is not going to vary much. So only in this x. Okay. It does not vary within the cross section at x. So this cross section I have already explained. The domain has a constant cross sectional area. Okay. So everywhere if I take a cross sectional area, the is uniformly distributed. Okay. Now what I am going to do, I'm going to define a function called pi, which is called flux, or we call it as heat flux. Okay, pi is going to be the flux of the quantity at x time. What is it going to measure is that it is going to measure the amount of quantity which is going to cross this one. Okay, so how much it is going to cross over this cross sectional area? We have a small cross sectional area I'm going to take. Okay, so this cross sectional area is crossing this cross section at time t at this x. Okay, this is like x I have. Okay, so how much it is going to be crossed? How much it is going to be crossed? Okay, so suppose I have a spoon, so I just take a small strip over there, and I want to observe how much the heat is going to be moved from one place to another place. The pi is going to be positive. When it is going to be positive, if the flow is if pi is positive, the flow is to the right. Okay, the flow is right, so means it is going to go from here to here. That means it is going to be positive. On the other hand, if it is going in this direction, okay, then in this case pi is going to be negative. Okay, so if it is flowing from left to flow is to the left. Okay, if it is going to this left, means right to left, it is going to be, then pi is negative. If it is going on the right side, it is going to be positive. That answer. Now I'm going to denote one more thing, f of x comma t, which is going to denote the rate at which the are destroyed. Okay, some quantity which is going to be created. So sometimes what will happen is that I will add some more heat over here. Therefore, that heat also will be accumulated. So this f is usually called as source or sink. Okay, source or sink depending on the problem. If I am adding, suppose we have kept some rod in that. Okay, and you are in that. Okay, some more heat, like you are putting some fire or something, then again it is going to be much heated. Instead of that, okay, in order to, suppose the rod is already overheated and you are not able to touch, what your mom or what your cook will be doing is that, suppose some milk is boiling very much, what they will do is that they will sprinkle some water, right? That is nothing but the sink. Okay, sink means you are going to dissipate that. Okay, you are going to control that heat. Okay, so that means that is sink. So if the rod is very hot, then what you will do, it will not touch that immediately. You will put some water or something else so that will get it cool. Then you can touch that rod. Okay, same thing. Either you cook it some rice or chapati, whatever it is. Okay, if it is so hot, what you will do is that you will just sprinkle some cold thing, then it will be automatically cool. So that is given by this f of x comma t, which is called either source or sink. Okay, depending on that. If that then that is called source. If you are reducing the heat, then it is called sink. That is the reason it is called. If it is positive, it is source. If it is negative, it is sink. Okay, so that is another constant like that. Okay, these are all the assumptions. Okay. Now what I am going to do? The amount of quantity. Okay, the amount of quantity at time t. Okay, in small section with dx. I'm just going to take a small section dx and put it. Very small section. Okay, so this location I got point. So you have x comma t is somewhere here. And what I'm going to take is that this cross sectional area is there. I'm going to take a very small distance dx. Okay, in this I'm just going to observe what is going to be my in between this. I'm just going to observe what is going to be. Okay, so the amount of quantity at time t in a very small section of width dx. So dx is the width I'm going to take, and then I'm going to check what is the things are going to come. So in that case, what is the amount of what will be the total amount of quantity is going to be that? It is going to be u of x comma t. Okay, u of x comma t into the cross section, this a. Okay, into the width. That is going to be the total amount of quantity which is going to be. Okay, so the amount of quantity. So in that case, if I want to observe something in between some interval, some arbitrary interval, you can take. So let us say take some arbitrary interval. So the rod is very big. I'm just going to take some small arbitrary interval, and then I'm going to observe what is going to happen. Okay. So in that case, what is going to be there? So you have x comma t a dx is only for the small length. Therefore, for this entire interval, it is going to be a to b u of x comma t into dx. Okay. So this is going to be the amount of quantity in arbitrary section a comma b. Now, what is unit of phi, okay, the unit of phi is the amount of quantity per unit area per unit volume. This is the phi. What is phi? Phi is nothing but the flux going to be there. So how much flux it is going here and how much flux it is going to come out. So that we have to check. Okay. So now unit of phi is the amount of quantity per unit area per volume. So what we are going to do is that what is the actual amount of quantity which is crossing the section. Okay, it is crossing the section and entering, okay, leaving from one place and leaving from another place. So in that case, that is going to be A by R. Okay, because phi is the amount of quantity which is leaving and entering. Therefore, what you are going to expect, you are going to have A into, so this location I got to find. So that means I am going to find what is A into pi of x quantity. That is the actual amount of quantity crossing the section at x at time t, which is given by A into pi of x. Similarly, F can be also measured in the same way. Okay, F is measured per unit volume per unit. So what in this case, all these three cases, what we are doing is that, okay, in the previous slide, I have defined everything per unit area or per unit volume or per, okay, everything. Whether it is a u of x comma t, or whether it's a pi of x comma t, or whether it is a f of x comma t. Every measure. Now I'm just going to measure it for the cross-sectional area, and with some width I am going to measure. So in the case of the width, I'm just going to take this one. This is going to become a k of x comma t, k of t comma x, which is nothing but for this entire region. Now, if I want to some arbitrary interval, then I have to integrate that. Okay. Same thing for pi of x comma t. Pi of x comma t is per unit volume. Okay. So that means for the entire region, I got to multiply with some. I got to multiply with cross sectional, then I will get the integral. Okay. Same thing for the F also. F is again the heat source or heat sink term is going to come. So in that case also similar kind of thing is going to come. So in this case it is going to be f of x comma t into A dx. Okay. Per unit time it is going to come. Same thing. Now again, I can apply the same thing for this one also. So in this case, it is going to become like f of x comma t into A dx. For the arbitrary interval, I can take A to B. Okay, A to B of t. Now, okay, what is it going to say? The rate of change of the amount of quantity in this interval. Okay, the rate of change of the amount of quantity in this region of interval must be equal to the rate of change at which the quantity flows out from. Okay, means is concerned as we have, this is something similar to what we have discussed in the ant story, the ant and pollution story, ant and pollution story, same kind of thing. So the ant was staying here, okay, it was staying here, and then that was concerned. Okay, means whatever is entering here, it was leaving here. So if I just observe it here, I'm just an observer here. Whatever is entering here, it is going to be leaving here. Same thing is happening here also. Okay, what is going to be the rate of change of the amount of the quantity in the section A, the entire interval. So I'm just an observer here. I'm just observing what is going to happen. So whatever is entering here, okay, that is same as the rate at which the quantity flows in at A. Okay, this is the A location. Whatever is flowing in minus at which this is going to be, okay, that difference is going to be the conservation rate of change of quantity. Both are going to be equal. So that means what we are going to say according to this one, T by dt of what is the rate of change of the amount of quantity in the cross section A, cross section AB, that is nothing but this one. Okay, this is the amount of quantity which is with respect to that quantity. Okay, so A of x quantity. So this I am just checking what is the rate of change with respect to time. So that is going to be T by dt of A comma B, A to B, U of x comma T, U of x comma T, okay, A dx. This one, which is same as the difference between, okay, the difference of this one, the flux, whatever is entering in, whatever is leaving in, okay, minus the difference between these two. So that means that is going to be A into whatever is entering at A, okay, that is nothing but A pi of x comma t. So in this location, this x is going to be A, so A into pi of a comma t minus whatever is leaving here, so that is nothing but A into pi of b comma plus some source term is going to come, which is going to be A to B f of x comma t into A dx. So A is common everywhere, so I can remove that. Okay, A is some positive, so I can remove that. Area, so I can remove that everywhere. So this is going to be there. Okay, now I'm just going to replace that. What I'm going to do, so this one, since A is constant, okay, since A is constant, I can do that. So you are going to get E by dt, you have t dx, pi of A comma t, so same thing, whatever you are doing that. So what is it saying is that it shows the balance between how much goes in and how much goes out, okay, how much is changed. So this is going to say how much goes in, this is going to say how much goes out, okay, and this is going to say how much change it does occur. So it is showing the balance between them. Okay. Now what we are going to do for this one, we are going to apply the Leibniz rule. Okay, for this part, we are going to apply the Leibniz rule, and then we are going to derive the equation. We know this Leibniz rule from the calculus or analysis course. So the Leibniz rule is saying as follows: suppose A of t, B of t, and f of x, t are continuously differential function, and we have A of t to B of t. Okay, f of d by dt of f of y comma t dy is same as f of b of t comma t into y dash of t, sorry, p dash of t, okay, minus f of a comma f of a of t comma t, f of a of t comma t, f of a comma t into a dash of t, okay, plus some integral is going from a dash a of t to b of t, okay, into ft of y comma t dy. This you might have studied in the calculus, in the analysis course you might have studied. This is called the Leibniz rule. Okay, this is called the Leibniz rule. So taking the derivative inside the integral, okay, this is going to talk about how to take the derivative, how to shift this derivative from outside to inside. Okay, outside to inside. So that is talking about this one. Okay, taking the derivative inside the integral. So here d by dt is outside, whereas this is going to be inside. This is going to be, I can just write this df by dt. Okay, df by dt. That is what I am just doing. So in that case, additionally, we get two terms extra. Okay, so that's what we are going to use it for this one. Okay, I'm just going to push that over here. So in that case, what I'm going to have, okay, so in this case, this is going to become like d by dt of p of x comma t is going to become like, I'm going to get so here p dash of t, this is constant, therefore p dash of t is also constant, is also going to be constant. Therefore, what is it going to become? So these two terms are going to cancel. So t by dt of integral a to b u of x comma t become like integral a to b. Since these two are constant, it's going to be vanished. So we are going to get integral a to b ut of x comma t is going to into dx. Okay. Now, suppose if you assume that this pi is continuous. Okay, if pi is continuous, again what I can write? I can write pi of a comma t minus pi of p comma t. I can write it as minus integral a to b pi x of x comma t dx. You can just take the integral over this one, you are going to get this thing. Okay, using the fundamental theorem of calculus, you can okay, so using fundamental theorem of calculus, you can apply this. So therefore, what I am going to have? So therefore, this is going to become, so the entire integral is going to become like the first one. So everything I converted into integral form. So what you are going to get is that you are going to get integral a to b. So this one is going to become like this one. So ut of x comma t into dx, and this is going to become like plus I will put it, okay, because I'm just going to put it here. So pi x, integral pi x a to b pi x into x comma t dx equal to integral a to b f of x comma t dx. Okay, so I can just take the integral common. Okay, I can just write it as this way. I'm just writing this way, minus f of x comma t dx. I'm going to take it. Okay, so therefore this is going to become, what is it going to become? This is equal to 0. So if this integral is going to be 0 for arbitrary interval a comma b, then what we are going to get is that this is going to be, the integrand is going to become 0. Okay, a and b are arbitrary, the integrand must be 0. Okay, since the integrand is continuous, we are going to have. So if you go for the Lebesgue theory, it will be different, but here you are just assuming that Therefore, you are going to get the integrity is going to become 0. That means what you are going to get u key of x comma t plus pi x comma t equal to f of x comma t. Okay, this is the fundamental. This is called fundamental law, fundamental conservation law in differential form. This is called the fundamental conservation law in differential form. Now we are going to use this one for some of our problem. Okay, generally the conservation laws can be written this way: ut plus pi x equal to f. This is the general conservation law form. Okay, where pi and f are some functions of x comma t comma q can be some function of x comma t. In case pi and f are functions of u, it will lead to non-linear model. Okay, for example, if you take so some examples we take it. Okay, for example, you can take the further equation or transformation. Suppose I take pi is equal to cu. If I take pi is equal to cu, then what is pi x? So c is constant. That means you are going to get c into ux is going to. Therefore, what you are going to get ut plus c ux equal to 0 or if I am going to get. Okay, so this is nothing but the transport equation. Or if I assume f equal to 0. This is the same thing what we got in the transport equation. Okay, that c is the speed of the sound, we can get it, and then you get ut plus c x, which is 0. Okay, so that is going to be the approximate equation without no source. So putting f, that is going to be source. Now next one. Suppose we are putting some more things. Okay, for example, this is the conservation I have. Okay, suppose you are going to add. Okay, adversary is usually referred to the transport sentence. Suppose your model of the flux is proportional to some density. Okay, proportional to some density. Okay, proportional to some density. Suppose our model is proportional to some density. Okay, then you can put that also in that map. So in that case, you are going to split this f into two parts. Okay, one is going to be alpha u, another is going to be remaining part. So in that case, you are going to get ut plus ux plus alpha u equal to f also. So this is nothing but the advection part, where your model, the flux is also the flux which is proportional to whatever the u is. So in that case, you are going to. So here, okay. So here, Cx is related to the flux term, whereas alpha u and f are related to the source term, corresponding to the source term. Means the source term. This is the source term we have discussed earlier. The source term I am splitting into two parts. Okay, one is the proportional part, which is proportional to the u, another is non-proportional. Okay, this is also. Now next one, approximation. Okay, this is some idea what it is going on. So we call it as the diffusion. Okay, the diffusion. What is the diffusion? Is that, for example, as I mentioned, you are having a rod where you are going to sprinkle something or you are going to do something, right? So that means the heat is going to be dissipated or it is going to be dispersed. Okay, diffusion is going to come. So in that case, hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because the other video got stuck. Okay, fine. The diffusion is the transport of a material by a molecular. Okay, what is it going to happen? So we will explain that in this way. For example, you are standing in a queue, either in the mess or in the cinema hall or somewhere. You are just standing. Okay, not in the COVID situation. Before the COVID situation, you just assume that without social distancing, you will be standing there. Okay, where the cricket stadium where you want to buy something. Now, what will happen? Suppose when there is a person who is going to push you from the backside. Okay, you are just standing here. Someone from the backside is pushing. Then what is going to have? He is going to lean on you. Automatically, you are going to lean on the before person. Then that person is going to lean on the other person. Like a dominoes effect. What is going to happen is that when the person in the middle of the row, when the person is just affecting one person, the consequently other person. Now suppose there is a person standing in between. Okay, after essentially there is a person standing. He is a very tall and stout person. Okay, and he has some opposite force to withstand all the forces which was enforced by you or the person who was behind you. Then what will happen? After that person, nothing will disturb. Okay, he will be just disturbing. So people are standing here. Okay, then some people are standing here. Okay, so some people are standing here like this. Okay, so this person is leaning, automatically this will be standing. Now there is a motor person. Okay, he can withstand all the things and he can resist all the things. What will happen? After this person, they will be just standing. Okay, this person will be standing. whereas these people will be just leading. Okay, because they are just impacted. Okay, these people will be just leading you. Whereas this person will be standing as it is because this person can resist. Okay, so that resistance, due to that, rest of the part will not be getting disturbed. Okay, so similarly, what is going to happen? There is a discontinuity at one place. Okay, there is a discontinuity at one place in this equation. What is going to happen is that there is a chance that the rest of the thing may be getting disturbed. It is not guaranteed that it is going to be disturbed all the time. Sometimes it may be stopped, sometimes it will be continued. Okay, that's what going to happen in the real phenomena. What is going to happen is that the same way when fluid, the adjacent fluid is going to be disturbed. It is going at the, so this is higher speed, this is lower speed, means whatever the higher speed, that will be impacting on the lower speed. Automatically this lower speed also, and then it is going to. So if the high speed fluid is strong enough, very strong enough, like a tsunami of blood, what will happen is that not only the adjacent fluid, even the materials. Okay, that is the reason we are getting like the cars are swept away or the houses are swept away, because that fluid is very strong enough. That is again a fluid, high speed fluid, which is very strong enough. That is the reason the flood or tsunami, which is going to sweep away all the particles in between also. So it will swallow or sweep away all the materials out. However, if the object which is standing here is strong enough. For example, in the case of dam they are constructing, right? So in that case, what we are doing is that again the flow is going to happen, but that dam is very strong enough so that it can't sweep away. So it is going to create some equilibrium in that case. Okay, it is going to create some equilibrium, and that can be formed, and that is going to resist. Okay, so in this case, both advection and diffusion process can occur. Okay, both advection and diffusion can occur. So this is the interpretation of that. Now let us consider the heat equation the same way. In heat equation, what is going to happen? Same thing, same phenomena is going to happen. Either it is a pollutant story, or ant story, or the tsunami story, or a flood story, or dam problem. It is going to be the same story. Now what is going to happen? The heat equation also going to be do the same thing. Okay, same way. When one end of the rod is heated, what is going to do? The molecules, the nearby molecules are agitated. Okay, it is going to be agitated. That is the reason it is going to get more heat. So once this molecule is getting agitated, consequently the nearby molecule will be getting agitated. Okay, so it causes the adjacent molecule also to get agitated. But the flow is always from more agitated molecules. So if you are heating here, there will be more agitated molecules will be here, whereas in this end, less agitated molecules will be there. So it will affect the nearby thing. So again, this molecule will be affected. Again, affected like this. So like the same way. So here I am heating. Okay, here I am just keeping cold. Then what will happen? This molecule will first get agitated. Since it got agitated, the nearby neighborhood will be getting agitated. Since this neighborhood agitated, next neighborhood will get agitated. Like this, the heat will be propagating along. Okay, that is the reason. That is the way the flow is going on. The flow is always from more agitated to less agitated molecules. So therefore, the flow will go from heat place to cold place. Suppose this part is hot and this place is cold, then automatically this heat place to the cold place it is going to happen. Okay. So the agitation molecules depends on the temperature. So there are different parameters. It depends. So depending on the temperature, depending on the density, depending on the other physical parameters. For example, if you keep some wood or something, it may not get agitated that much. Okay, if you keep a rod, iron rod, it will get quickly agitated. If you keep some other properties, or materials, that may become different. So it depends on all these parameters. Okay, so if you have a higher the temperature or higher the density, then there will be a chance that there will be a higher agitation. Okay, that is more density gradients, more flow will be there. So mathematically, what is the meaning of it? A measure of the flow, this flow we are the pi we are measuring, right? The measure of the flow pi is proportional to the gradient of the gradient of the concentration of the substance. The gradient of the concentration of the substance. So how much concentration is going to. So in the 1D case, I'm just going to measure it this way. So g of x comma t is the quantity which I have measured. So in this case, pi of x comma t, I'm just going to assume it as pi of x comma t equal to minus k ux because this is the gradient. Okay, which I have measured. Mathematically, the measure of the flow is proportional to the gradient of the temperature, gradient of the concentration of the substance. The concentration of the substance is here, U is the concentration of the substance. Therefore, you are going to get minus KUX is there. Okay. So here, y K, here K is the proportionality constant, or we call it as a diffusion constant, etc. There is another lecture I used to provide with some other description, where I used to mention why the minus K is also important. Okay, the minus K is going to imply that the flow is going from hot base to cold base. That is the reason that is going to have minus K. Okay, so that I used to explain with some some kid stories. Okay, using that also you can do the same. So that means what is it going to say? So this flux, what is it going to say? If we have Vx is greater than 0, then the density increases from left to right. Okay, left to right it is going to increase. Therefore, the flow should be right to left. That is negative is going to come. Okay, that is negative is going to come. Now, x is less than 0, then what is it going to come? The density decreases from right to left. That means what is it going to come? If V of x is less than 0, the total quantity is going to become positive. Okay, that means what is it going to say? The flow is from left to right. So that is taken care of. Therefore, since minus KX is there, what I can write? I can write it as this equation. I can write as the entire this equation I can write as ut minus k square uxx equal to f. Because already pi x is there. This is k ux. So I'm just putting again the same thing. So k uxx is there. Okay. The k square is some constant I can use in the place of minus k. Okay, some constant I can use. So if f equal to 0, then you are going to get the general diffusion equation, which is next one. Yeah. So there is an advection term. If there is an advection term, this one, then you can add that term also. Okay, advection and diffusion in the process, then you can add this CUX term also to that. Okay, that is going to be. So for example, you can consider the ant story or pollutant in a river. So advection occurs because due to the river flow, speed, what is going to happen? The pollutant is flowing along, or the ant along the river. Okay, so it can diffuse. So sometimes it can diffuse, and also depending on the flow of the speed. Okay, so that be something called dispersion also. It's not written here, so that also will be taken care. So in that case, the equation will become much more complicated. Okay, so if the pollution decays, the pollution also decays at some rate, then you will get some more equation. Ut plus Ex minus k square Exx equal to minus lambda is also going to come. Okay, this is also some of the so yeah. So now the heat equation, let us derive it in a proper thing. What we are going to assume is that we are going to consider rho as a density, okay, and and C as a specific heat, and T as a heat. Okay, T is the temperature which I am going to take, and U is the energy I am going to assume. Okay, U is the energy density I am going to assume. So in this case, as per the physics thing, okay, what is the energy is going to come? The energy density is going to be given by U is equal to rho Ct. Okay, rho Ct. So therefore, this equation is going to become like rho C Tt. Okay, rho C Tt minus rho C Tt. So that should be Tt by Tt should be that minus k square rho C Tx is going to come. T xx is going to come. Okay, Tx is. So therefore, what you are going to get? You are going to get, just cancel this dt by t minus k square t d square x by d square t by dx square. So this is heat equation. Okay, here we have abused some of the notations, so take care of it. Okay. So let me see the time. Okay, it is already time. So we'll derive the heat equation in n dimensions in the tomorrow class. Monday no class because it is a Thursday table. We will derive that in the Wednesday class, and then I will discuss about wave equation. Okay, derivation of wave equation also will derive. Or I will complete this one second. Only few slides, only 2 slides, so I will complete it. See, heat equation in n dimension, how do we obtain is that we can obtain the similar way. In n dimension case, what you are going to have is that instead of this A, what I'm going to have is that I'm going to take a some